Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Grill Nation show with Jason Grill. Thanks for listening today on KMBZ 980 AM or on our website on grillnationshow.com via podcast, or also on this live stream that we're at right now on my social media. It's great to be back with you today. Hope you're having a great week. We're going to have an awesome show today. Start off the show today, I'm joined by Jeff Phillips, Senior Vice President of Landmark National Bank. Their website is banklandmark.com. Jeff, how are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic, Jason. How about you?
I'm doing great, man. We're in the middle of summer here. The weather's been pretty good so far. I can't complain, you know?
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
What have you been up to, buddy?
Well, apart from swim and dive with my kids, which seems to be an all-encompassing chore for about a 7-week period there, things have been great. It's been interesting how, from just a business perspective, how things have kind of carried over from, there was a little bit of lull from last year. I think people were just tired. And then about February or so, things really cranked back up. Of course, you always see kind of a lull when people start taking those last family vacations like we're about to do next week.
Where are you headed to?
We're headed to California. We're going to do a little San Francisco and Yosemite and Big Sur and Monterey, make a nice little loop around there. So we're really excited.
I got to stop you there. Big Sur is probably one of my favorite places in the earth.
It's unbelievable. I'm anxious to show my kids that, before we had kids, we set out on this, we had all these great adventures, me and my wife, and we did all these great hikes and 14ers and saw all these wonderful national parks. And we said, man, when we have kids, they're gonna see the world. And I think they've seen Rocky Mountain National Park 11 times, which is great. But we decided to mix it up just a little.
Well, good. So you're getting out of the office for a little bit. That'll be nice.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
What is going on at Landmark National Bank these days?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about this last night because I knew that you would kind of ask what we're seeing around. And it feels like right now there are a lot of conversations going on with execs that have either left corporate America or sold their business, or current operating companies looking for a strategic buy. There seems to be a lot of people anxious to buy, to expand their customer base. And, they're seeing organic growth, but I think people are really seeing the opportunities for substantial growth as being acquiring either a new division or kind of a tack on what they're currently doing. And there's also kind of this movement of change in ownership. So there are quite a few businesses in town that are transitioning for family reasons, or maybe there is a doctor that was a founder and they're looking to get out while these other doctors come in. So there's been a lot of conversations around how do we fund that transition? How do we plan for that transition? Is our company in a place that can support that, or are we relying on the seller to do like a carryback? All those kind of questions, because there's a lot of different ways to do that. So that's been what a lot of our conversations have been around, so much so that we're actually putting together a symposium in October where we'll have a panel of folks, of private equity folks, a guy who specializes in business valuations, an attorney, a wealth management, and then an accountant. And really the idea is to say, okay, if you have a desire to sell your business down the road, what do you need to be doing 3 years, 2 years, 1 year in advance of that, from a personal estate planning, from a legal, from a level of financials, all of those type of things. So that seems to be, we don't do those symposiums just because it's things that we think would be cool. It's based on, hey, we're having the same conversation over and over again. And so there seems to be a need for that information. So we're excited to put that together in October.
Yeah, tell what's the date on that again?
Yeah, I'll have to hunt that down.
Just mark your calendars for October.
Yeah, just block off all of October for that one event.
Let me tell you, Landmark does a really good job with community engagement and kind of charting trends and whatnot. And I know on your website you kind of have one thing I was looking at this morning was kind of your blog on banklandmark.com. A lot of really cool questions that you answer, as far as like stuff I always get, where somebody wants to start a small business. Do they set up an LLC? How do I get approved for a mortgage? How do I set a budget? How do I grow my company? I mean, it's just a wealth of knowledge. And I hadn't looked at it in a while. It's pretty cool.
Well, that's nice of you to say. We do feel like that is one of the things that we say is a value of ours, is being able to pass on information, not because we are smarter than entrepreneurs, but we sit in this unique position where we get to hear the same conversation 1,600 times, and so it's really kind of connecting folks to say, hey, you're trying to make a decision about whether or not to hire a full-time HR person. Well, Bill just made that decision 6 months ago, and he would be more than happy to visit with you about what he wished he would have known before he made that decision. What were some of the reasons that he did make that decision? So, it's really kind of all of us helping each other. And we say that that's a value, but the proof's in the pudding of, do you take the time to kind of memorialize that sometimes?
Yeah.
Charlie Benson, one of the guys here at the bank, he did one of those articles, and I think the catchphrase out of it was, you got to get naked with your partner. And he was talking about how honest you have to be with your partners going into a business, because if you're going to get it together in business, it's like being married. So you have to know as much as you can about each other.
Yeah, you got to do your due diligence, right, Jeff?
Right.
Is that a term in your world? Hey, who are we having on the show today? 621 is coming on. Tell us about them.
Yeah, so I'll be excited for everybody to meet the crew at 621, and when they introduce themselves. Great architects, great people. I think it's a perfect story about people that had a chance to work together, or kind of live life together, and found a rhythm of, hey, I feel this need, you feel this need, together we're kind of more of a whole. And I think they are proving that out in their new business. I think also they've got a lot of lessons learned just in even their young infancy of the business. They're seasoned folks, but the business is relatively young. But they're tackling some of the same things that a lot of entrepreneurs out there are trying to tackle around how do you work on the business or work in the business. So I think there'll be plenty for us to talk about.
I think so too. Again, 621 is our guest today. I'm going to pull up their website here. Again, it's 621.com. For all those that are watching the live stream, we're going to talk all about their company. We're going to introduce them. Over 20 years of experience combined. So it's exciting. And I was looking at their website. Man, I love to just do some modern architecture at some point in my life, wherever I'm living. But right now, my house is it's got some modern architecture, but it's not quite to the level of what 621 is doing as far as their design.
Well, your house is a lot like your body right now. You've got new ideas, kind of in an older frame, right?
Yeah, that's true. This is why I'm training for a marathon, Jeff. So I can keep somehow young. We're going to be right back after the break again. Jeff Phillips, Landmark National Bank, is our guest. Right now, he's a great collaborator with the show. The bank is great. Banklandmark.com is their website. We're going to be joined by the co-founders of 621 after the break. Their website, again, is 621.com. You're listening to the Grill Nation show here on 980 AM or on podcasts or on our live stream right now. We appreciate you joining us each and every week. We'll be right back. Okay. Let's see if our crew can join us and we can hear them while we save the first segment. Okay. Got us. Okay, Kara, let's test Kara's mic, see if there's an echo or not.
Hello.
Okay, good. There is not.
Awesome.
How are you, Kara?
Okay. Difficulty at the beginning, but good.
This is classic Kara right here.
So Kara, yeah, you can turn your phone if you'd like. We'll see what that looks like. There you go.
Better.
Okay.
Perfect. And remember, the main thing is the sound quality. The visuals are an added bonus here.
For some of us.
Yes. I'm going to get a group photo of us while we're waiting to tape that first segment, if you guys don't mind. Okay. And everyone look at their camera in 3, 2, 1. Okay. I'll take a look at that in one of the breaks, and we'll see if that's good. And then if not, we'll do one more. Okay, he is ready to roll. I'm going to put my timer up here.
How long is this one, Jason?
11:40.
Thank you.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Grill Nation show here on KMBZ 980 AM. If you're listening on the radio, via podcast, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, all the different podcast networks, as well as our website, grillnationshow.com. And if you join us for the live stream, we greatly appreciate it. As always, you can watch all of these on YouTube as well. Just search for the Grill Nation show with Jason Grill. Again, I'm excited to be joined today by Jeff Phillips, Senior Vice President at Landmark National Bank. Their website is banklandmark.com. Also, we have the Hollywood Squares here on this show. If you're watching, we have a great group from 621, great company here in Kansas City. 621.com is their website. Kara Bouillette, Jacob Littrell, and Dan Brown are joining us here on the live stream and on the show today. Welcome to the show, everyone. Why don't we start with Kara? Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about your background and whatnot, Kara?
Yeah, hello, everybody. Kara Bouillette. And I had the honor to join Jacob and Dan in our practice about 2 years ago. My background, I graduate from the University of Kansas back in 2001 and moved around for a couple of years in Chicago, Austin, but really kind of found Kansas City calling me home and moved back to the area in 2007. So it's been a few years now and worked for various firms throughout that time. But again, joined Jacob and Dan in partnership 2 years ago.
That's great. That's great. How about we throw it over to Dan here? Introduce yourself, Dan.
Hey, yeah, I'm Dan. Dan Brown. I'm an architect, designer, co-founder of 621. Also from Kansas City. Really super passionate about the city. I, like Kara, graduated from KU and made my way out of the state for a little while and quickly found my way back to Kansas City. Really excited to be, in the city. We've been back for about 15 years now. And practicing architecture ever since. So excited to chat today. And I guess that tosses it to Jacob, our lone wild.
Yeah, Jacob, what's up, man?
Well, hey, I am the lone and proud K-Stater in this partnership. Hailed from Kansas State University and Kansas City, born and raised. As Dan and Kara said, we are super passionate about our city and so excited to be practicing architecture here in Kansas City. And starting and running our business here too. So also an architect. I've practiced architecture for almost 2 decades now, mostly here in Kansas City. I've actually spent a couple of years on the other side of our industry on the construction side too. And so kind of bring a little bit of that experience to the table and to our company, and have just had the opportunity to work with several great Kansas City companies and brands over the course of my career. So that's me.
So you guys all met kind of in the hustle and bustle of being in the architecture and design world throughout your journey throughout working with different companies and whatnot, correct?
Yeah. Architecture is a pretty small, kind of tight-knit community in Kansas City, and so it's hard not to know each other just as architects. But we actually had the opportunity to work together in a previous company for several years, and that was really the opportunity where we got to know each other really well, not just as people. Jeff, it's funny listening to you talk about in that early segment about knowing your business partners and stuff. And we did the best that we could to like really know everything about each other. Sometimes we joke, we're like, hey, you didn't tell me about that, or that you left that out, But yeah, like we got to know each other as coworkers in another company, and I think that was an opportunity for us to, as Jeff said in the first segment, really get to know each other's strengths and see where we kind of complemented each other and fill in our own weaknesses. And we found that we each brought something that really unique to the table. But together, that was a really talented, strong group of leaders that made us feel really confident in starting a business together. So that's kind of how it came about.
Yeah, that's awesome. 621.com is the website. And if you go to the website, you guys have won a lot of awards personally and as a business, and just do some great work. I got to ask, what are the AIA and the LEED AP mean after your names?
Well, the AIA is kind of the governing body for architecture. It stands for the American Institute of Architects. And so there's a national organization that really keeps its pulse on the industry. And then we're lucky to have a local chapter here in Kansas City, AIA Kansas City, that really kind of looks out for architects and collaborators in our region. And
yeah,
then,
I did remember I did meet with the executive director of that organization a couple of years ago. So that's a great organization. And then obviously LEED, you have LEED AP certified Dan and Jacob. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. LEED is leadership in energy and in environmental design. And AP is just an accredited professional. And so that's really a organization that certifies buildings as being sustainable. It also is an accreditation program for professionals to get certified in sort of that sustainable green design program. So Dan and I think we all share that same certification.
Terry, you have it too. You just need to update the website then.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does 621 do? Just explain to the business before we get into kind of the core tenants, your clients, the journey. Let's know exactly what you all do if someone wants to take that first question.
Sure. So 621 at its core is an architecture and design studio. We practice architecture and do the design for buildings and spaces. And I think as Jacob had mentioned earlier, we each bring about 2 decades worth of experience and expertise to our industry. But I think the three of us would kind of narrow it down to really being creative problem solvers. So understanding what our clients' needs are, diving deep into what their values are as an organization or as an individual, and really understanding that in depth and allowing that to help influence the design. So again, I think being creative problem solvers, whatever that problem may be for our clients.
That's awesome. And I love that you're creating modern, lasting spaces that promote a joyful life. That tagline and that invigorates me because we have been at home a lot recently, and man, there's just so much. There's so many things happening with people in their homes. I just drive down the street and it just constant change. And it looks like what you guys are doing as far as architecture and design, interior and exterior is just beautiful. So congrats on your success. Speaking of that, let's talk about some of your clients or exciting projects. Kind of give us a flavor of some of the stuff you've been working on. Dan, do you want to start with that one or?
Yeah, sure. And Kara and Jacob, interrupt whenever you want. So we've got a few good ones that are going on right now. We've got one really exciting one that's a 230 unit multifamily development over in Midtown. It's an area that we're really familiar with and passionate about. It's a multifamily development that's going to act to weave together the KU Med campus, the 39th Street neighborhood, and the Volcker neighborhood. And we're really excited about that one and working with the city and with the neighborhood right now and getting that through to make sure it meets all the requirements that they all have. Another one we're working on right now is South Kansas City. We're working on a small pocket neighborhood, which is kind of a new style of neighborhood that's coming about right now. It's these little pocket communities that are maybe, 40, 50 units that open onto public green spaces and really have this sense of renewal about them. So we're working on that right now, where it's going to be a 45 unit townhome development. And then a number of single family residential, both new build and renovations. I think we have 5 new homes in construction in Kansas City, anything from a custom single-family residential for a client, all the way to a home for a developer. We've got, I think, 3 homes for developers going up right now that'll be spec builds. So lots of exciting stuff going on right now.
Yeah, for sure. What does that process look like? So talk to us about kind of how you guys work with both these single family home folks, these developers. What does the process look like, and how do you kind of dive into really creating these joyful and places where people live, work, and play?
Yeah, we can all kind of chime in here and talk about this, but I'll just maybe say where we start. And we talk a lot about sort of like trying to put ourselves in the shoes of our clients, the owners that we're working with. And so a lot of that for us is empathy, like really listening to them, asking a lot of good questions, trying to like really understand like what makes them tick, what would improve their life, what would make their business better. And so we just ask a lot of good, deep questions that really inform sort of like the goals and vision for the project. So that's where we start.
I think adding on to that, because we listen to our clients, the process isn't the same for every client. It really does change depending on their goals and their needs, and we kind of tailor the process to individual clients once we're in the door and once we've listened to them and understand more about them.
Yeah, and I think once that listening, that's an active process all the way through. But once we've kind of done a bit of listening, we always go into kind of dive deep into a lot of research, whether that's city codes and zoning, whether that's history of the site, whether that's the socioeconomic drivers of the project, really trying to dive into what makes that specific project something that has the ability to positively impact the lives of others. That's something that we're really passionate about, and that's kind of that next step in the process. And then producing something that then is just it's really a team effort between us, our clients, our consultants, to produce something that's going to be really amazing and impactful in the end.
I love it. It's a tough process. As somebody who works in messaging and public affairs, government affairs, and PR around some of these projects, going with the neighborhoods and the city and designing something that everyone's okay with so many different competing interests is always tough. So it's positive to hear that you're having great experience right now in the project in Midtown. I'll be anxious to see how that one goes and follow that for sure. Thanks for joining us on the Grill Nation show today. We're going to go to break here. 621.com is the website. Just beautiful photos up there and all kinds of information about their work. We'll be right back with more of the Grill Nation show after the break.
Good job, guys.
Great job, everyone. Jeff, we'll start with you maybe on the segment 3.
Okay.
Kind of how you've worked with these great folks.
Okay.
If that works for you.
Yep.
Okay, so now I've got to find a project to work with you guys on.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. When Darren gives us the heads up, we'll get going. If there's anything anyone wants to just, I'm just kind of directing the questions to everyone overall, but please feel free to jump in whenever.
Cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so we are ready to go. Segment 3. And 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Grill Nation show with Jason Grill. Thanks for joining us on radio, on podcasts, on our website, grillnationshow.com, or on our live stream here today, which we will obviously post to our YouTube page too. Jason Grill, just search for my name. I'm all over the place as far as social media goes. And on the Grill Nation show with Jason Grill is on YouTube. I'm not going to bore you with all those details, although I hope that you do follow us because we've had some really great shows of late. But this show, I want to make sure we get everything across to our listeners today with this great organization we have on today. 621.com is their website. They are a awesome modern architecture and interior design firm here in Kansas City. Jeff Phillips, Landmark National Bank, he's a community leader, connected us, and Landmark National Bank is a great collaborator with the Grill Nation show. Jeff, I want to turn it over to you because you are the relationship man here in town, and also have had a relationship with this organization in 621. Tell us about kind of how you've worked with them and what you've seen as far as their growth.
Yeah, well, one of the favorite parts of being a banker is you get to get the phone call that says, "Hey, we're thinking about going and doing our own thing. Could we meet with you and talk about it?" I mean, that is super exciting. So they were nice enough to make that phone call when they decided to do that, and we sat down and talked, kind of nuts and bolts, what that would look like from maybe an organizational standpoint or the banking piece of it. But really, the part that I've enjoyed the most is I think architects are like this cross between like scientists and like musicians, and I love seeing how musicians can collaborate and get together. So I would love to know from you guys, what was the impetus for starting? Was there something that you saw in each other or that you saw a void in the market that really kind of led to it? And then the number one question that everybody has is, why 621?
Yeah, and we got a lot to talk about with that, don't we, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah, who wants to fill that one? I mean, I'll just say, I think, we all had worked for several other great successful companies. We had been leaders in those companies. And I think there was an itch that we needed to scratch in terms of like driving the bus, like doing it ourselves, kind of being at the helm. And I think we have always had a little bit of that desire to do that. And so we saw an opportunity and kind of a timing that seemed right, and a partnership that had kind of sort of developed in front of our eyes that we said, like, this is it. This is what we need to do, and we need to go chase this. So that's kind of what drove us to do it. Like, we're passionate about architecture, we're passionate about our city, and we believe in this partnership. And so we said, hey, we want to be in the driver's seat. We want to grow something that's our own, make it our own, and do it the way that we believe is best. So.
Yeah, and the question of 621, that is a long story. They fundamentally 621 is it's our founding date. We were founded on June 21st. And we went round and round and round with different names, but this is the name that we came up with over a beer on the first night that we met, and that's the one that wound up sticking after a few months. And so, but it's kind of come to represent a little bit more than that to us as we started talking about what that date means. It's also the most common day of the year for the summer solstice. So generally speaking, if you talk about the summer solstice, you're talking about 621, you're talking about June 21st. And we love the symbolism that's embedded in that date. It celebrates nature and lightness and optimism. It represents patience and nourishing seeds that have been planted in the past. So like this idea of growth and renewal, we like that a lot. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's this idealistic future state kind of, we've planted all the seeds and we've worked hard and now we're working to watch it grow. And so we kind of really like this idea of summer. We've also talked a lot about, it's just kind of a reminder. We celebrate every solstice, winter and summer. We kind of celebrate the cycles of our business. We kind of give thanks to our clients and everybody that's helped us along the way. And it's just kind of a reminder that everything's cyclical, It's life, running a business, starting a family, it's all cyclical. There's moments of dark and light and hot and cold and, but it always comes back around.
I love that. And you'll never forget when you have your 20th anniversary, or your 30th anniversary party. Hopefully Jeff will provide for that.
That's right. Yeah.
Hey, I want to move to the 6 for 21, and it's on your website at 621.com. Talk to us about that, because I think that includes, 6 ideas for the 21st century and kind of the core values of what you guys stand for as far as how you operate your business. Let's start there, and whoever, if Kara, if you want to start with that, or if Jacob or Dan, whoever wants to take that one, let's start kind of going through the reasoning for that and what they are.
Yeah, sure. So 621 kind of morphed into the 6 ideas for practicing architecture in the 21st century. So it was really, as we were getting together 2 years ago and talking about our practice, what was going to drive us? What was what our true values that we had as an organization? So our six for 21, it's just how we practice our architecture. So number one, practicing with confident humility, and really it's that idea of collaboration, that we're in it with others, and the listening with humility and just being open to other ideas. Number two, doing less, eliminating the unnecessary from design, so that the true necessary and the design speaks for itself. And number three, you often hear the phrase "don't sweat the details." But we actually do sweat the details. Oftentimes, the most beautiful architecture really comes in its most simplest form, and the execution of that comes down to the details. Number four, treading lightly, gets back to that sustainability, the LEED credentials that we all hold, which is really just making sure that we're treading lightly on planet Earth. I think it's the role of architects in the 21st century to provide their clients with sustainable design, and making sure that we're doing as little as we can to prevent the Earth from depleting its resources. Dan, Jacob, do you want to talk about number 5 and 6? I feel like I've
got those. I'm going to pull up on the screen. Carrie did a great job again. Practice confident humility, do less, sweat the details, and tread lightly. Let's go into 5 and 6, because I just like the way you guys have organized this on the website, 621.com.
Yeah, Dan, I'll let you take it.
All right. Yeah, so the next one, I think it's number 5, is to prioritize balance. This is one that we were all very passionate about. We're all passionate about this idea of nothing in excess. And this is for architecture, and then we talk about it a lot in our design, but it also, it's a lifestyle for us. So this talks about, this was heavily leaned on in 2020 with the pandemic, this idea of balancing our work life and our family life, and making sure that all of those things kind of flush out in balance. So that prioritized balance is really meant to remind us of that. And then 6, this idea of many over one. We really believe that diversity adds value. And we think that's kind of apparent in our partnership. Jacob and Kara and I are very different people. We bring very different things to the table. But we think that adds a ton of value to our team and our clients. And so this idea that the more people that can participate in a project, the more voices there are, the more rich the result is going to be. So that's an idea of many over one. It's kind of the antithesis to the Starchitect of the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
So
that it really is like I was just going to say, it really is our ethos. So like from, architecture to lifestyle to our business, it's really what drives us and really what characterizes, how what we believe and how we want to do business.
That was actually what I was going to ask of you all, is that, sometimes people start a business or get into business because they see a void in the market from just an offering standpoint of, hey, people don't make red umbrellas, so I'm going to get in and make red umbrellas because there's a need out there, or a perceived need. It feels like you all are driven by more of a impact to not only your clients, but also the greater good. I guess my question out of that would be, how do you balance kind of this high level, this is what we're all about, with kind of the nuts and bolts of how you run a business and make money?
Yeah. Well, we are a business. So first and foremost, like, we have to make money, or like we're not a business. So like, obviously every day we are driving toward that, to being a profitable, successful business. But we know that that's not enough to get us up out of bed every day, to just get up and make money. It's obviously critical to any business and incredibly important to us in our lives. But these other kind of intangible things that we feel like have to be there for us to be able to grow our business, for us to be compelling to our clients, for us to really provide a top-notch service and product. And that's not just about us or our clients, but that's also about like growing a future team, and bringing additional people into that ethos and into our business to make sure that they know kind of why we're here and why we exist and why we're doing this. Money is a big piece of it, but it's not all.
I think that's such a good word for all of us because, one book that had a huge impact on me is Simon Sinek's Infinite Game, and he talks about a just cause and that will and resources are finite whenever it comes down to kind of just a strategy or an objective. But if you have a just cause, then it's almost infinite to where you just continue to strive for a better future state, not just to accomplish some goal or some number. So I applaud you guys for having that out of the gate. There's a lot of businesses that don't realize that until they're way too far down the road that they don't have a just cause. So congratulations on that.
Love it. I love it. We're going to have more after the break with 621 and Jeff Phillips from Landmark National Bank. Thanks for joining us on the Grill Nation show with Jason Grill. Wow. Great job, guys. We have one segment left. I do like how you said that you are a business, Jacob, because I find that, saying that you're a business and you obviously have to have a profit is not always said these days. So I appreciate that. Yeah,
that's what Jacob brings to the table. He reminds us of that every day.
It's like really candid. I'm the one that makes sure that we don't forget that.
Yeah, Jacob's job is to say, stop talking, Dan. It's time to work now.
Yeah.
We almost, I think at one point we were going to name our company like Both And, because like we really do, that is a part of our ethos too. We don't really talk about it, but we believe that you can be a profitable business and be driven by like values like the 6 or 21 ideals. And like, I think a lot of people, a lot of times want to say like, it's either or, you can't have both. We just believe that you can have both, Yeah. So we try not to sacrifice either of them.
I think I try to adhere to most of your 6. I'm gonna have to take a deeper dive after we're done here, but sweating the details for sure. That sometimes gets me into too much of issues, but I do definitely do that. But there's so many good ones on there. I think it's cool. Okay, we are ready to go on segment 4. This is a 9-minute and 8-second segment. We will start here in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Grill Nation show with Jason Grill. I really appreciate you joining us on today's show. I really appreciate Landmark National Bank and Jeff Phillips for being a collaborator with the Grill Nation show. Their website is banklandmark.com. Just a great community bank, and they work with a lot of businesses that are growing and entrepreneurs in our region. So we're very happy to have them as a collaborator, one, because we get to meet great companies like 621, 621.com. We're joined again by Cara Bouillette, Dan Brown, and Jacob Littrell, the co-founders of the business. Their website is 621.com. We were kind of touching on your business growth and growing smart. I do want to touch on that real quick because take us through that process, because at some point you are going to want to probably grow and hire more people, I would assume.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, growth is obviously the goal, right? And so we have a lot of goals, and we, early on when we started the business, we set even 10-year, growth kind of goals and projections. But I think, for us, what we feel most passionately about is doing it with longevity and sustainability in mind. And so we are okay with slow, steady growth. I think we see a lot of companies come out of the gates and really big and really fast is sort of like the goal. And that, I think that works for a lot of companies, but we've also seen some of the challenges that can come with that. Not to say that you can't overcome them, but for us, I think our strategy or our approach is maybe being a little more methodical and nimble and smart about how we do achieve that growth.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone want to add to that, or we'll move on? That was a great answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that I would add is, I think we're in sort of a unique time in business culture where growth can take a lot of different forms. We have the ability to do much larger scale projects as a 5 or 6 person design studio than maybe you used to before the advent of technology like we can use today. So we try to stay nimble and capitalize on our relationships with other firms and other individuals so that we can do those larger scale projects, but still maintain a really healthy and profitable business model that can stay steady over the course of time.
I love that. Let's talk about a trend in your industry that you're excited about. I want you to answer that, and then if somebody wants to answer that, and then kind of really define for us what modern architecture and design means to you. Tara, is there a trend that you're excited about?
Well, I think a trend that's happened in many industries is technology and how that has impacted multiple industries. I think that our industry, the design industry, and more importantly, probably the construction industry, has lagged a little bit behind in some of that the technological advances. And so I think we're on the cusp of seeing a lot of impact on technology in our profession. So I'm excited about that. And I think when I started practice, we were still hand drawing some drawings, and it's evolved over time to digital drawings, CAD drawings, and then really drawing in 3D models. And now we're to the point where our clients can actually walk through their physical space in a virtual model, even before a nail has been pounded into the wood framing. So I think that's really exciting, and I'll be really interested to see how that continues to change our industry in the coming years.
I could really use that in our line of work. If I could walk through the business 3 years into its future, so I would know whether or not it's successful or if there's people still there, that'd be really helpful. I appreciate it.
Yes, if you figure out that technology, Jeff, let us know.
Yeah.
What are you guys seeing as far as kind of either voids in the market or in Kansas City in particular that you feel like is kind of the ideal either client for you guys or a place that sets you apart as being a unique choice for folks that are looking to do a project?
Let's do it. Who wants to answer that one? That's a great question, Jeff.
Everybody jumping at once. I think, I don't know if there's like this big void in the market, but I will say like a lot of what we want people to know is ourselves, like is us. We feel like we bring a certain approach and experience to the table, but like we don't bring egos to the table. And I think that is not always what you get in our industry. I think a lot of times there are agendas, personal preferences and things like that, and I think that there is maybe a little bit of a void of people who kind of lay their preferences and egos down at the table and start a project really with the client's best interest in mind. And so I think that's just one, maybe one thing that we would say in terms of what we're trying to accomplish, and trying to meet, in terms of a need in the market.
Yeah, from a professional background standpoint, we have such a diverse background, from cultural buildings to multifamily buildings to, office space, interior design. So, we have the capability to bring expertise in a lot of different spaces. But it's really more of a question of, what's the experience that you get when you go to work with that architect. And we think that that's a place that we do provide a competitive advantage. We like to say that great design is our secret sauce because it is foundational to what we do. But the largest foundation is providing amazing service and really listening to our clients. And then, the great design that's what's expected these days. That's what people have to do. And so that's what we provide.
Yeah, and your website I put up on the live stream, 621.com/work. Just some amazing photos. I could go through some of these. They're just I know I've probably driven by some of these in my life, but they're just cool. That's just all I can say. And as someone who's not an architect, your work is just cool. It's awesome. You guys do a really good job, and the fact that construction folks can make some of these things come to life that you design is pretty impressive. what people can do these days with construction and bringing some of these designs to life is just I wish I had some of those skill sets that I don't have, but it's just cool. Sure. 621.com. Okay, what is your favorite building in KC? Does anyone have anything they want to jump in with that? I'm always fascinated to know what experts consider the favorite building, either in Kansas City, let's say, or maybe one across the United States or world, maybe that you just is your inspiration or something you really enjoy.
I'd say my favorite KC building is Union Station, and I think that's probably changed since I've had kids because we spend so much time there just letting them run around. But just going and seeing all the history and the architecture sort of captured in one place, and then learning about how it transplanted from the bottoms up to where it is today, and it's got that feeling of sort of a central hub, and there's always activity there. I just love Union Station.
Kara, you were going to jump in there.
Yeah, sure. I was going to say the controversial at the time block addition to the Nelson Atkins Art Museum. I think that the addition of the modern piece of architecture to the classical is beautiful. And my former firm I worked for had the opportunity to work with the design architect Stephen Hull and his practice, and I know the love and attention of detail that went into that building, having worked on another one of his projects, and even down to designing the handrail and making sure that was a beautiful design element to the building. So I really love the block addition.
Jacob, do you have one before we close out the show today? I love these questions because I'm learning more about you guys individually too. I love both of those buildings, of course. They're awesome.
Yeah, I love both of those buildings too. And maybe I'll take it out of the country for us. I had the opportunity to study abroad in Italy when I was in school and spent a ton of time in Florence. The Duomo is the central cathedral in Florence. And that's one building for me that has been incredibly inspiring that I went back to many times while I lived there. And you see buildings that have been there for centuries, and that alone is pretty awe-inspiring.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show and Grill Nation show today. We just flew through it. I mean, it's just I could talk to you guys for hours. I have followed you on Instagram, so I'm hoping I can get some design inspiration from you. 621.com is the website for 621, just an awesome modern architecture and interior design firm here in the region. Thank you to Jeff Phillips for collaborating from Landmark National Bank and for joining us today as well with some really great information and some great questions too. Again, Jacob Littrell, Kara Bouillette, and Dan Brown. Jeff Phillips, thank you for coming on today's show.
Good to see you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, everybody, and thanks to the listeners for joining us today. We will see you again next week. Take care. Okay. That was fast, man. Whew.
That was fast.
You did it.
We
Great
have
job.
a sneak peek preview to tape, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So I can use this post this in social media, and you guys can share with your friends on social media too. Is there a specific question that we talked about today that really kind of you wanted to hone in on in a less than 2.5 minute answer, or 2:20? I thought there were some really great answers today. So.
You want to tell us what you thought was the most compelling? Like what was the thing?
Obviously, I really like kind of the question about business. The question Jeff asked, actually, bottom line versus being more thoughtful around kind of your differentiator and kind of how you guys operate the 6 for 21. I don't know. What do you think? I thought that was kind of unique.
Yeah. Jacob, you want to take that?
Sure.
And then we'll dive in. We'll jump in.
Yeah.
I think that really kind of sums up your the company as something that I think is really interesting. So let me type this out real quick. I'll just ask you as a business, why do you stand for more than the bottom line, if that's okay with you?
Yeah.
Jeff, if you want to chime in here at all, that'd be great too. Just with a quick blurb about about them?
Prior to asking the question or after?
Just, right after they give their short, brief answer.
Okay.
What you've seen.
You bet.
Okay. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Grill Nation Show One Question Sneak Peek. I'm joined by Jeff Phillips from Landmark National Bank, Jacob Littrell, Kara Bouillette, and Dan Brown from 621, a great architecture firm here in Kansas City. Their website is 621.com. Quick question for the group. One thing I think really differentiates you guys as a business is the fact that you stand for more than the bottom line. Why is that, and why do you do it? Let's start with Jacob.
Well, Jason, I would say first and foremost, we are obviously a business, and we are focused on profitability and being a successful business that's around in many years from now. But we also believe that in order to grow and to be successful, you have to have more than just revenue goals to drive you and sustain you. And so it was really important for us when we founded our business that we define that ethos, that we created those drivers and that value, and we've sort of captured them in our 6 ideals for practicing architecture in the 21st century. That's what gets us up every day. That's what drives us, and that's what we come back to when we think about how we are going to be around for many years to come.
Dan and Kara, do you want to chime in real briefly on that?
Well said.
Okay. Great answer, Jacob. We're going to have a lot more great answers on this week's show. 621, it's a simple, modern architecture and interior design firm here in Kansas City region, 621.com. Jeff, I'm going to let you finish off this sneak peek.
Yeah, I think that is just a brief intro into what you find out about them as people, about them as business people, and also as architects, is that they have this guiding principle that they use as a filter for all of their decisions going forward. And I think that's what's led to their success.
Well said, everybody. I want to thank those for watching today's sneak peek of the Grill Nation show for this week. Again, 621 is our guest, 621.com, and I want to thank Landmark National Bank for joining us. Jeff Phillips, great collaborator with the Grill Nation show. Okay, hold on one second, guys.